have me to lead this meeting today in the absence of our chair. So be patient and kind, as the song say. Welcome. Thank you all for attending the Chattanooga Sports Authority of the Hamilton County and City of Chattanooga. The meeting is now called to order. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the April 10 meeting. Is there a motion for approval? Hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to read. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Is there any public comment that anyone would wish to make from the audience? There being none, the next item is the presentation of the financial reports by Henderson, Hutchison, and McCullough.
Well, good morning, and I'll keep this very short and brief and to the point. But my name is Brock Oliver. I am an engagement partner with HHM CPAs. Had the pleasure of conducting the audit for the Sports Authority for June 30, 2024. We issued our opinion, a clean opinion with no findings and no material adjustments. The only activity for 2024 was the CIP of about $3.9 million and liabilities of about 4.1. Just a timing difference between those two, but that's really the only activity that was on the books for 2024. And other than that, there was no other findings to report. So,
Okay, are there any questions, comments of the auditors? I have one question. Last time we mentioned that the chair signed a management letter that was sent to the state.
yes.
And we may have gotten that letter. Did we get that letter last time? The management letter, do you remember? Because I wanted to read the contents of it, but and since I don't have it, if you can just give it to staff or somebody,
Sure.
and they will send that to me. I just kind of like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
right.
certainly do that.
Thank you. Thank you. If there are no other comments. Next item is the presentation of the progress report for June 25 and public infrastructure budget by finance.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Madison, members of the board. Whenever they have a moment, I'll ask them to put a few slides up on the screen to be able to go through, just to help everybody visualize what we have going on. So this is we've been making some good progress with the construction, both of the stadium as well as making progress towards the design of some of the infrastructure. Some of it is complete, some of it continues to be in place. So on the infrastructure side, the jack and bore, which is for the new stormwater drainage line beneath I-24, which will take a significant part of this area to the river and off of the city's combined sewer system. That main trunk line pipe is complete, so all that's good. And so now that means we're at the point where it's time to start making those connections, whether it's from the roadway. It'll also be available for the stadium connection, as well as other future development in the area. The public sewer that serves the stadium, which is part of the infrastructure package funding that was provided to this board from the city, is currently underway and is ongoing. And the final design of the roadway pieces for the West 26th Street extension, which will extend westward and wrap around both the north and the west sides of the stadium. That design is continuing, as well as finalizing some design work on the Riverwalk improvements itself, which runs down that eastern side of the stadium. Also wanted to make the board aware that as part of that $10 million public infrastructure component, there are a couple of private railroad crossings which already existed at the time with the property owner, but those are being converted into public crossings, one for West 26th Street and one for the future, as well as some relocation of some of the Riverwalk in order to better align with all that. Those conversations are about to get underway with Norfolk Southern, but just to make the board aware, instead of all that running through the developer agreement that the board has with Foundry Developer LLC, that work, the Norfolk Southern wanted to enter into that agreement directly with the city, since the city is the one that's going to be owning that infrastructure at the end. So it's about $67,000 worth of preliminary engineering, and we will be removing that scope specifically from the developer's portion of the contract. It's work that they would have done and paid for and would have sought reimbursement under their development agreement, but that's just going to be worked out in accordance with the terms of the agreement, just to modify that scope slightly to reduce that. But we wanted to make you all aware that that is something that's going on. So it's not a big change. The amount is shown on the screen, but it is good because we're making that progress. We wanted to show this graph. We've shown it. We've gotten better information, and this graph has tightened up with some better forecasting information. This is specifically for the stadium costs. So this does not include any of the team furnished or the site prep activities or the infrastructure. So this is just the $86 million that's been authorized by the board, which is the bonds, the loan, and the $1 million worth of interest. And this is the dash line indicates forecasting of where we had anticipated we would be at the beginning of the project. The solid line shows where we are through the most recent payment earlier this month. So we're slightly under, but that's okay. That also is reflective of the fact that there's some contingency that's not been utilized, or some dollars that have not been fully allocated towards the project. But currently, the cash flow spend is tracking very well with the cash flow projections we had at the beginning. This slide shows breakdowns for those other elements of the project. So the first three columns that are on the left represent the total of the infrastructure spending, which has been provided by the city for this project. So there's a general fund component, and you can see there's a component that's in the blue, which is the total amount the remaining amount that's left to spend. The amount that's in green is what's been spent to date for each one of those, and that's true for all of these going across. So the bulk of that stormwater funding has already been spent, because installing that jack and bore underneath the interstate was the high dollar. It was the most expense on that portion of the project, and that's why you see we've spent more of those stormwater dollars at this point. The wastewater is getting started, and we will see more of those as we go, and then there'll be the final stormwater dollars will also happen during that, as well as that general fund component that will happen. The site preparation and the team supplied reflect the dollars that have either been requested as draws or have go credit towards their TIF loans, depending on the arrangement under each of those. So the majority of that site prep work, more than half of that's already been reimbursed out, and you can see that the teamwork is getting started. A lot has been requested, and they are in the process of working through a lot of their team furnished purchases, but we just have not yet come forward in the form of them having made the payments and being able to get to the point where they'll start to show up on this graph.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I thought that might work. I'll ask Rick, if you don't mind, if you can hit the play button. So this happens to be a drone video. Hopefully it's showing up on all of your screens. This is courtesy of Pike Properties and their contractor, Brown Brothers, that performed this. So this just gives you a sense of that. We'd put a time lapse in the last couple of times, and honestly, the time lapse doesn't really show you much until the very end. And so we decided this was maybe a better way to give you some perspective. Even this video at this point is a month old, right? So there's been significant continued progress that's happened along the way. So at this point, happy to answer any questions that the board may have about any of the slides or any of the information that we've covered.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. Any questions, comments? Thank you all for sharing this video beforehand, and, you know, from where I sit, it still looks like a property that's got a long way to go, but at least, at least it's been excavated, and so budgetarily, we're on target, which means this site is on target, even though it still looks kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, in all honesty. Any other comments concerning this at all? The site visits were really very good for me, so,
Good. We're glad to be able
Now-
to do that, so.
yeah. All of the dollars that you show us regarding wastewater, stormwater, and all that, that's covered by this board as well.
That was correct. That's an appropriation from the city that was made to the Sports Authority. And then the Sports Authority, as part of all of the other financing documents, entered into an agreement with Foundry Developer LLC, which is one of the property owners' companies for the purpose of constructing that infrastructure on behalf of the board,
Yes.
and then dedicating it to the city at the end.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And so those dollars, there's, I think, $5.7 million of the 10 million was appropriated by the city in last year's fiscal 25 budget, and the remaining 4.3 million of general fund dollars was being appropriated in the FY 26, which has just been approved. So that will fully fund that infrastructure component and allow the rest of that roadway construction to be completed prior to the stadium.
Thanks. Thank you. Item number 6 is resolution. Bill, that's you again. Authorizing an increase of $975,000 to the guaranteed maximum price, and I won't read all the rest.
Certainly. So this is an item that is not an additional scope. This is not a miss on anything in terms of the part of the design work or anything along those lines. It purely was a matter of at the time that the GMP was proposed, the team was initially going to provide all of the lighting fixtures, but in the final iteration of the documents, those lighting fixtures were split, and there's an Exhibit C that was attached to as the backup. And so because the team had a hard cap at $19 million of their funding, that light fixture line, instead of being fully funded by the team, it was pushing them over the top. So that was at the time, it was included in the lease agreement with the team, that the stadium and the Sports Authority would pay the balance, everything above $510,000 worth of lighting fixtures. We knew all that at the time, but we did not have it included into E&J's GMP, and so this is just an administrative correction to get that scope, but the dollars have been included in the entire budget the entire time, and so this is not anything where we have to worry about cost overruns or schedule delays. This is purely an administrative contractual necessity in order for us to be able to do this and be able to preserve our contingency for things that it's truly intended to be for, which is unknowns and other changes along the way. So that's the reason for this, is to basically provide an allowance for purchasing the balance of those lights. The lights are all being negotiated as a single package, so that way everything is consistent along the way, and then the lighting vendor will appropriately bill the team and or EMJ for the work to make sure that we're in alignment with all of the financing documents, which the Sports Authority has already approved.
Okay. I see the attorney is happy with that. And our purchasing department, budgetarily, we're good. Any other questions or comment concerning the resolution? If not, may I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second. Okay. The motion has been moved by Reverend Weeks, second by Ms. Varner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Next item is the progress report. Well, it says progress report by Public Works. Is that you? Is that done, or is that, okay, that's Paul.
Yeah.
the financial progress report.
Good morning. In order to consolidate time and presentations, we were going to combine the progress report, the financials, with the Public Works Department going forward, if that's okay with the board. Other than that, there hasn't been much to present other than the accumulation of expenses since our last meeting. With that being said, does the board have any questions regarding the financials?
Any questions? If not,
Okay.
so I guess I need to understand what you just said. You're actually combining your report with Public Works. It's
No,
really your report on the Public Works operations. Tell me what the real difference is.
Oh, so pretty much in order to consolidate time and presentations, we may just add this report to the Public Works report going forward. So you'll still see the slide and you'll still receive the information. It's just if you have any questions, I can then step to the podium and ask or answer those questions for you.
So this report will be just given as a paper document, or will Bill be presenting, or you will just comment if there's a question, is what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am. I will comment if there's any questions.
I think I had requested a while ago, and Bill does a lot of that, but to show this report that you have here from a budgetary perspective, just budget versus actual, is that still
Yes.
something, or am I seeing it and don't recognize I see it?
Yes, we're still looking to see how to best combine that with this statement. I did submit a budget alongside this report. You should have received it along with this, but it's a separate page.
Right, yeah, these are two, but you know what I'm, budgetary comparison, you know exactly what I'm talking about,
Yes,
correct? Okay.
yes, and we will get that together.
Okay. Do you have another comment?
I was just going to add, that I think just for ease of presentation and the technical side of putting the information on the screen, Paul's information was being shown as a separate slide within what Public Works was already preparing on the progress update. I think going forward, whatever that information needs to be, I think that's the intent. We can work to smooth out the handoff going forward. I didn't want to call Paul up if that wasn't what you all were ready for as the board, but perhaps it's a matter of just knowing that's the way the flow is, and if you prefer to have finance before progress update, or you want to get progress construction update first and financial after, then that's.
Whatever you propose is fine, as long as it's presented. No, I have no problem with it being combined. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Questions, comments from anyone else?
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
As I was reading the minutes from before, I think we talked about DBEs, or whether or not you'd be able to, and you said, I think you, Bill, you said that the information doesn't give a lot of information, but you will look into potentially giving some information regarding the participation of DBEs in this project.
Yeah.
At a more detailed level, I think you give it, but.
Right. I think currently we have provided what we have, and I do not have any update or any changes in any of those numbers that were last presented. Currently, unfortunately, I do not have any additional information with a more detailed breakdown, but I'll continue to see what's possible for us to get from that.
And if you don't mind, for my purposes, just going forward, at least just address it. I don't have any more, or I have more. Okay, that way, yeah.
That's fine. We can do that. We didn't want to wind up showing the same slide again if that wasn't what the board was after, but if that's your desire, then that's.
No,
that's
I'm
what
not,
we'll do.
no, that's not what I'm after. It's just something that lets me know that it's not off the table, you're still working on it. Yeah.
Certainly.
You don't have to repeat the same data.
Okay.
Anything else? Oh, gosh. And I'm gonna shut up. If there No other business? You have, okay. Anybody? All right.
Yeah, go ahead. I think as part of the stadium update where there were multiple pieces on there, I think there's also some information that Jim Irwin, the master developer, has to also provide as part of that, so.
Okay, cool.
Thank you very much, and I will be brief. It's been a minute since I've had a chance to come and present before you, and this is typically the season when, as the developer, we are deep underwater, just designing and working on the pure creation part of this with our architects and engineers, and I wanted to sort of pop up above water to say hello, to say that even though we haven't talked in a minute, I'm here and we're working hard and incredibly excited about the progress we're making. Everything's right on track, as you've heard, both with the stadium and the first phase of the private sector development. I did not know that I was competing with Bill for pretty pictures of the site, but I happen to choose a sunny day where you actually see Lookout Mountain and the river. Having done this for a long time, my editorial comment on the progress with the ballpark is that it is something that each of you and your city will be incredibly proud of. It is an incredibly amazing spot for this asset for the city, and I really think it's going to be, the signature for years and decades to come, and really be an amazing front door for the city. I had a chance to, I walk it about every week, but I had a chance to really spend about an hour walking around this morning, and it's telling the history of Chattanooga beautifully. It's really bringing together, every community in a really beautiful way. So y'all have a lot to be excited about, and I'm so glad to know that y'all have been able to walk it too. So, as you know, the first phase of private development is land that New City purchased from Perimeter Properties that's immediately to the north or to the right here. And I put an arrow next to the multifamily phase because we had a few new renderings that I wanted to show you. We've begun DD drawings and are on track as we suggested, despite the fact that we are facing, really our city, state, and the country are facing enormous economic headwinds. We have the goodwill and excitement of our investors to continue the design process. So I'm proud to say that we're right on track. This is again, I've got 3 or 4 renderings of the approach. This is sort of what the project will look like from the West 26th Street extension that Bill mentioned a few minutes ago, overlooking the ballpark here. This is a fun fact. We're actually literally having to put tempered glass in those facades because it's in home run territory. So it's that we're trying to cook up what a fun prize would be for the first player to hit the windows or something. We'll have to. We'll come up. I might have a contest to whoever has the best idea. But right now, we're this building that you're looking at is about just about 290 units, and then again you can see the view from the garden overlooking the field. It'll also be in the other notch. Is where the pool will be. So it'll be an above ground pool. So you can imagine how fun that'll be on game days. And I could throw in as the DD process goes, the schematic design, you have about 100 sheets and it grows and grows. So we're just very, very excited about how it's all going. And that was literally all I wanted to say was thank you for your continued trust and support. We're super excited. The momentum is building in a really amazing way, and we should have later this summer some exciting announcements about some of the first activation of the site. We're working closely with Gary, Andy, and their partners on, courting lots and lots of other developers who are interested in acquiring other parts of the site to develop. So it's all Nothing yet to announce, but I'm just here to say thank you, and I'll, with your blessing, I'll go back underwater and you'll see me again in 4 or 5 months unless you need me.
Thank you.
Of course.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Any other comments? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
No objections, the meeting is adjourned.